I've had this car for 2 years now. Has it been any good? No. It's been f***ing amazing. Well, I haven't done a video for quite some time, and it really is just down to work, just too much work at the moment. I don't have any time, and when I do have a bit of time, well, I also have a life and I like to enjoy it. It's really hard to be doing videos and editing all the time, so yeah, forgive lack of videos. And this one I'm off to the airport, and I just thought I was going to put the camera on and do a quick video just to summarise 2 years of RS ownership. Now, so it's not going to be any fancy video or anything, because it literally is just a one take. Right, so I said one take, but it's not going to be one take because I can't do it in one take, because I always like go and say stupid things. So anyway, quick summary. How's the car been for 2 years? Well, many of you have followed the progress of the car. What's happened with it? I know it seems weird because it's just a car. I bought it as a car and I just sort of shared the experience. But as you know, it's been great. You know, I've taken it on track days. It's my daily driver. I've done 55,000 kilometers with it now. Use it all the time. The car's stuck together very well. Obviously, you know, most people do know that it does have engine number 2. Let's hope it's not a number 2. But second engine has been absolutely fine. It's done about nearly the same mileage as the original engine. It worked just as hard, and absolutely nothing wrong with it so far. I hope I'm not cursing anything, but it doesn't use any oil. Obviously, it definitely not using any coolant. So my engine seems absolutely fine. Apart from that, if there's any niggles with the car, yes, I do have a couple of little niggles with the car. It's developed this very annoying rattle somewhere here in this centre area, which is obviously coming from behind the dashboard though, so it means we've got to pull everything off and try and work out what's actually causing the rattle. A bit annoying, and it does annoy me because especially on the motorway like now, I can hear it all the time. Drives me a bit insane, to be honest, and I just haven't had time to leave it at Ford for them to sort it out. So my fault for it not being sorted, just through complete lack of time, and I've needed the car. So there is another problem with the car, is the steering wheel here on the left hand side, is the leather has been sort of coming off. It forms like little balls, which is really, really annoying, because that's your actual touch point. You know, hands are there, this side is absolutely fine, and this one is sort of coming apart. That's very annoying. You get little bits of black leather on your hand, so that's really annoying. But apart from that, I can't say there's anything else that annoys me with this car. It has been an amazing couple of years. And you know, when I still get my Autocar magazine every week, I do watch some other YouTubers, and I just love cars. But there's nothing really that I don't know, ticks all the boxes for me. There's no other car where I go, I'm going to trade in my RS and buy that. I mean, the only thing I have been tempted by, and I was tempted by, was the new BMW M5. And I think the new BMW M5, and I'm not a BMW person, I really do not like BMWs in general at all. I think they're overpriced, but obviously they're great cars, but I'm not a BMW fanatic by any stretch of imagination, and I don't really care that it's a BMW, but I love the concept of the new BMW M5, so it's very, very tempting. I'm probably not going to go there because it's obviously also a huge amount of money. But yeah, it's really hard. I think it's, you know, this is such a, it's a great car, and it's a great sort of value car as well. It's a high performance car that is within reach of a lot of people, and that's why I think the Mark III has sold so well. And they have sold it in America, they've sold it in many countries where they haven't sold the RS before. Every time I drive this car, I mean, it's just, some people think it's just a car, Justin, get over it. Yes, but you haven't driven an RS then if you keep saying that. And I know there are very negative people out there. You see it all the time on other Ford RS YouTubers, and people always say to go, oh, the engine's going to blow up and all this, and it's like, you know, these people say it because either they're Audi fans generally, BMW fans, or they've never driven the car. And yes, it is annoying. There was an engine issue, and did tar it a bit. But come on, people, get over it. Ford has said they'll sort it out if there's a problem. So just don't worry about it so much. But this is a very special car, and I think why it created a lot of anger amongst other groups was because it moved the ball. It changed the game. It sort of. With its torque vectoring system, its drift mode, and I know the drift mode is just a fancy thing, but it just showed the whole concept and the whole idea and the whole fun nature of the car. This isn't just, for example, like Hyundai doing their i30N. Great, it's another hot hatch, but it's just a hot hatch. It hasn't changed anything. It didn't bring in torque vectoring four-wheel drive system where you could actually have a bit of fun with it. Like this, you get to a roundabout, put your foot down, and the car will move around, even at low speeds. And I wake up sometimes at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and I just drive into the mountains for about half an hour, 45 minutes, to go and have my breakfast. But it's not just to have the breakfast, it's because that's going to be 40-45 minutes of just pure pleasure with this car, because it's so good on the twisty stuff. And that's where it excels. It's not so much about the accelerations, it's not so that, the top speed or anything. It's just that when you get to a nice road, it just puts a huge smile on your face every time. That's it. It's every time. And you can have safer fun. And I think that's where, people have been asking me to compare the 360, the Ferrari 360 and the RS, put them together, what are they like? And I am going to do that video. It's just going to take a little bit of coordinating. But I'm going to do that video and to show how spectacular this car really is. And the Ferrari has 400 horsepower. Okay, it's 13, 14 years old, but it's still a Ferrari. But actually, when I take the Ferrari on those same roads, I don't have the same confidence, and I don't, because my abilities aren't as good. And this car helps me to be able to enjoy those roads without killing myself and without having to go even too fast. It's just the car, the sensations, the responses are so good. You can have a lot of fun and really enjoy the car without going insanely fast. And I think if you do lose this car, and if you do throw it off the road, like some idiot did when the car first came out and he put drift mode fail or something, and he went around the corner and smashed into a wall, well, you're just a twat, because you shouldn't do that. And you shouldn't, yes, it has drift mode, but it's not for the road. You're not supposed to use it on the road. You can use it on the road, but don't be a twat. But that's like anything. Anytime you watch a video on YouTube of people crashing cars, they tend to be twats. They tend to be acting like twats. They're not just driving around, just having a bit of fun, just enjoying the car. And like I said, I don't know, there isn't another car at the moment that ticks all the boxes for me to go, you know what, trade it in and get this other one. There isn't. For the money, there is nothing that comes close to this. There really isn't. For the passion, fun, desire, interest, and I know in Spain, obviously they are very rare. These are really rare. And so, in fact, if you type in the number plate for this car, a lot of people know it. So that if you type it into Google, it comes up on a website called GE Spot. Not G Spot, I think it's GE Spot, I think it is. It's some German car spotting website, not some German porn website. And if you type it in, you'll see that somebody was taking a photograph of it. When I was in Chiclana, we were away for a weekend, and somebody had taken photos of the car. And normally people put supercars and stuff on there, but people take photos of the RS. And I know people don't like to believe it, accept it, whatever, but that's the reality. People love this car, and I still get people come up to me when I'm at the petrol station, when I'm in different places. People come up to me to talk about the car. They love the car, they want to see. It's very rare down here. Okay, maybe in the UK, obviously, there's a huge following in the UK. There's a lot more money in the UK, and a lot more people have bought RSs in the UK. But in Spain, they're still a very, very rare sight. So, I'm just coming up to some tolls, and unfortunately, not being a woman, I can't do two things at once. So I'm going to have to pause while I get through the toll. 1 sec. Okay, let's go. Oh, those little pops and bangs. I love those, eh? And that's the thing, it's like, you know, they may be a bit artificial. Who cares? They're good fun. They're good fun. And that's it. The whole premise of this car is to enjoy it. It's just a bit of fun. And I think that the thing is, it's put together by enthusiasts, it's put together by people who love cars, understand cars, and understand RS and where the RS brand came from. It's got a long history, it's a good history, it's a very strong, powerful history, and it's got a big following. And this car will always do well. And I think it pushes Ford engineers to do to find that next step. Where do you take the hot hatch? And they call this the hyper hatch. You know, it's like they're not hot hatches anymore. They're much more than that. The sort of the Fiesta ST has taken over where the hot hatch really was before. And I think that's also really important because, in fact, the new Fiesta ST coming out really made me think the other day, because I was quite tempted to buy a Fiesta ST as like a little runaround, and because I bet you it's a great little car. The previous generation was fantastic, and the new one, I bet you, is a lovely car to drive. Good little fun car to throw around, and it's very tempting to just buy one. But anyway, but that's the price range. That's around the 20 grand mark. I'm talking about pounds now. So if you look at the Fiesta ST, that's about 20 grand. And originally, I'm pretty sure the Focus RS Mark 1 was around £20,000, I think, because I remember my friend bought one. I think it was that price. And if that's the case, you know, it is where the game has changed so much, and it's moved on, where this isn't just a hot hatch anymore, it's a hyper hatch. This is a different price bracket, it's a different income bracket. Those who were buying these as hot hatches before, sort of now it's more the Fiesta ST that they have to buy because that's more affordable. So these are much more expensive cars, and if you look at the Golf R, if you look at the Mercedes AMG, the A45 AMG, the Audi RS3, they're expensive cars. They're really expensive cars. And even compared to those, this is relatively affordable. But what do they do that this one doesn't? They just, you might be a badge snob and go one's an Audi and one's a Mercedes. Who cares? Are you going to have any more fun than me on the back road? Probably not. I'm probably still going to have more fun than you. Ta-da! Anyway, so my 2 years with the car, like I said, I love it. I have no regrets at all. The engine issue was sorted. It was a bit painful, but you know, that's life. It's ups and downs. I don't really care about that. I don't think about that. And I've really just massively enjoyed the car. I loved it. I love it on track days. I love it as a daily driver. My kids love the car. It's always a good bonus. You know, with teenagers, they like the car. They're not embarrassed by the car. So everyone loves it. And it has a following, and people, you know, and I'm glad I sort of shared it on YouTube and shared the experience, because it has been an incredible 2 years. I can't see myself selling the car, by the way. I've got this really weird thing at the moment of like, well, if I bought another car, would I trade it in, or would I keep it and just buy another car? I don't know. I'm not in a hurry to buy another car at the moment, by the way. There's just so much going on that I haven't even thought about it or given it much time. Apart from, I was quite tempted with the M5, but I'm not going to go there because it's huge money. And obviously then you're just stuck with a massive depreciation. So anyway, so there you go. There's my 2 years. Love this car. Hope you're enjoying yours. I will try and do some more videos very soon, but in the meantime, I'm nearly at the airport. Better go. Have a great day, and I'll see you very soon.